All right, everybody, please make your way back to your seats. We're going to get the second round started in a minute. A couple of announcements. Please, during the fights, don't make that area super busy. We need the fighters to get through there, and also there's a fire code issue. So it'd be great if everyone just made their way to a seat. We also have seating up on the mezzanine right there. I think there's some seats left. I'm going to talk about the sponsors again for a second. Shannon Nordian Tattoo is right over here in the area of our sponsors, doing tattoo consultations, microblading consultations, talking about permanent cosmetics, and they have candy. The other sponsors are Promotion Select, Fuji Maps, Minnesota Spine and Sport, SJN Sound, AMH Visuals, Akagi Jiu-Jitsu, and X2 Fitness. So this event is the Iron Shield. Our event last summer was called the Iron Axe, and we had a local blacksmith make an axe that we gave to Joey Bozick, one of the co-founders of Defy. This year, when we came up with the idea of the Iron Shield, we started thinking about who would want to make that. And a friend of mine, Hans, suggested Steve Sherber. Steve Sherber is right here. You stand up, Steve. He's a local blacksmith. And he was head of the project to build the shield, which is right over there. If you haven't seen it, please go check it out. That is the prize, along with the money, to the winner of the event tonight, that shield. It was a really cool project. We put together a squad of veterans and active military. Those of you who are on the squad, please stand up now as well. Jason Fritz, Kelly Boylan's over there somewhere. Lindsay. So Lindsay is holding an object that was just finished today. We talked about doing it, and Steve came through. When we did our blacksmithing day, he introduced us to a lot of blacksmithing concepts and ideas and showed us some cool stuff. And when we stopped working on the saw blades that ended up becoming the shield, he started showing us how to make a hammerhead out of a piece of steel, which is some real blacksmithing, like a piece of steel this big, heated up hot enough to drive a hole through it. So we were joking around talking about building a hammer and making it the award for submission of the night, and this dude did it. So here's the hammer. That hammerhead was forged from steel, a solid piece of steel. So at the end of the night, before we award the Iron Shield, we're going to award that hammer to submission of the night. Thank you. So we are in a partnership with the Defy Foundation. We're very proud of that. The Defy Foundation is a nonprofit out of Texas that has a nationwide presence, actually has a presence now even in Great Britain. And they raise money to put combat wounded veterans on the map. And it's something that actually saves lives. There's a lot of veterans that come back from combat and have injuries that make it difficult to reacclimate to regular life, and Defy helps them by putting them on the map. All of us that do jiu-jitsu know that it helps our mental health, and people that are coming back from combat can be helped even more. So to tell us more about that, here's TJ Kreutzer, National Rep for the Defy Foundation.
Thanks for the intro. First, I just want to say thanks to the folks at TCI for the support they've given us the last couple years. It's just incredible to see the shirts that people are wearing at events and the support that we get from the public now. I actually didn't even know that Defy existed, but I've known for a couple years that I wanted to do something with vets. My best friend in the Air Force committed suicide years ago, and after going through some other gyms and having the opportunity to train some other places and meeting with vets and stuff like that, starting to see that there's a pairing between jiu-jitsu and veterans. I was looking for somewhere to be, somewhere to volunteer. And when they had the Iron Axe event, I found out about Defy, and they didn't have a volunteer force yet, but they were standing one up, and I kept knocking on the door until they were ready, and now we've been building a network of representatives to help us out with this mission. I am a veteran. I flew F-16s in the Air Force, and I retired in July after 24 years of service. So talk about what this Iron Shield means and what it symbolizes, and it's the protection in some ways that jiu-jitsu can give us in our lives and the challenges we face, but veterans have a very specific set of challenges when they come back. Reacclimation is difficult, alienation is a very big thing, and trying to find a place to fit in, and then with the disabilities you may have acquired, both mental and physical. So I think about a couple things with jiu-jitsu. I mean, we're all familiar with some of this stuff because most of us practice it. But I think about the fitness aspect, touch, human touch, community, and then achievement. So if you think about having PTSD or anxiety or depression, your brain and body physiologically get in a very negative loop, a feedback loop that goes on, and it's difficult to break. I'm sure there's people in this room who have experienced that. With jiu-jitsu and physical fitness, you find ways to reset that loop, especially with jiu-jitsu, because when someone's choking you, you're not thinking about what was going on before. You're not thinking about the war. You're not thinking about how you're not fitting in. You're in the moment. You are breaking that negative thought process, and your body's going through a positive physiological process as well because of the fitness aspect. Touch is another part of that. We touch our kids, we hug them. We want to hug them until they don't want us to hug them anymore, and they're too old for it. And when we get too old for it, and we lose that ability to just reach out and touch another human being. And there's a physiological response that occurs, just like with working out, that's positive, and it helps break that cycle. And we get that in jiu-jitsu in a way I can't think of any other sport, really, other than combat sports, where that's a factor. And those two things help in therapy when it's part of an integrated process with other things like counseling and other types of therapy that someone might need. The community aspect is huge because I already alluded to it. A lot of veterans come back and they feel alienated. They may have mental disabilities or physical disabilities. Talk about Joey Bozick for a moment. He's a triple amputee, and he walked into Alan Chavarro's gym, and Alan had to change jiu-jitsu and change the way he taught to help Joey roll. And Joey competes now. And if you go on YouTube, you can watch it. It's incredible. Some of the other things with community that are really unique about what veterans go through and what they need. Everybody has a story. Veterans all have a story. But all of you have a story too. When veterans come back, I think a lot of times we're afraid that people aren't going to understand the story we have to tell. And you become a part of a community where there's soccer moms and lawyers and high school kids and people with crazy long beards and people with no facial hair and people with a lot of tattoos and another person with no tattoos. Everybody's different. It's an incredibly diverse atmosphere. And when you come into that family, especially coming from the military, where you've got a structure, you have things that were always set, and now you're pulled out of that and put back in normal society, and you have lost a sense of control over your life. It offers you a sense of control in terms of having classes all the time, having a place you know you can go, and then becoming a part of a community that you didn't have before. And even though your story is unique, and maybe the other people in that gym don't understand it, you start to gain an appreciation for the fact that everyone has a story, and everyone is dealing with something. And it brings those people out from that alienation and into a community to help them integrate back into their life. And that's what we're trying to do. And Andrew already said it, we're saving lives. That is what we're ultimately trying to do here. So I hope that speaks to you. I hope that you understand how heartfelt this is for me to get up here and be able to talk about it a little bit. The best way to support us is buy the gear, wear it, post about us online, make donations, and help us break out of just the veteran and jiu-jitsu circles. Because it's a great community, but it's small. We really want to get supported. We need to get out into avenues beyond that. And you can help us do that just by talking about it to your family and your friends, letting them know that we exist. I just want to throw one more stat out there because I think it's important. 7% of Americans have served in the military at some time, 1% served at any given time, and 20% of all suicides are veterans. That number is way too high, and we are trying to make it smaller. And the best way you guys, like I said, can do that is support us. Come take a peek at the gear, put it on your geese, wear it proudly, compete with it, take pictures at Worlds with it, and it'll just help us advance the mission. You get to be a part of that too. So thank you for your time. TCI, thank you again for all the support.
And donate. Go to the Defy Foundation.org website and give them money. All right, before we get into the second round, we've got a special match for you. So we had the Purple Belt Absolute event in Uptown in February. It was a 16-person single elimination tournament, like this one tonight, Purple Belts. The winner was Kevin Scottshine from M Theory. He's now a brown belt. So he's going to come out here and have a special match with a guy named Mike Anderson, who lives in Texas and trains under Alan Chabarro, one of the co-founders of We Defy, at Tier 1 training facility in McKinney, Texas. And he agreed to come here and have a match with Kevin, which was agreed to as part of winning the Purple Belt Absolute, a featured match at this event. So we're going to have that special match, and then we're going to get into the second round. All right? And this round, let's make some more noise for all the fighters.